Alright guys, I have a new topic for discussion in this video, and I've been thinking about making this video for a pretty long time now, at least since 1.07 came out and the game kind of changed, and I've noticed the changes since 1.07 came out, but I just never decided to make the video until maybe I saw a couple of more discussions, or me and my friends discussed it a little bit more, and it seems that a lot of people are confused on which might be the best gun right now. My opinion is it's the burst rifle, but I'm not going to try and convince you to my opinion. What I'm going to try and do is just put forward facts about the game in front of you, and then let you decide on which is the best gun in the game right now. So before we even start off, let me just try and give you an idea on myself and Naughty Dog games. Uncharted 2, I played it when after 1.05 came out, so I wasn't there for most of the nerfs and the patches and everything else, so that was fine. Uncharted 3, I played it right off the bat, right off launch. The best gun in the game in the beginning was the M9 rate of fire. It was not a close range gun. I'm sorry, it was a close range gun. It was not a long range gun. I mastered the M9 rate of fire. I was able to get shots across the map in Yemen and what else, other maps, whatever they were, and I mastered the M9 rate of fire. They nerfed it. I had to switch over. We switched over to the FAL. Everyone switched over to the FAL, especially all the FN players and the tryhards and anyone else, because obviously that became the best gun in the game. So we switched over to the FAL, and the FAL was a very tough gun to control. It was not an easy gun by any means to control, because before the M9 rate of fire, before it got nerfed, almost no one was using the FAL. Only very few people were using the FAL. But then later people find out that it's a 3-shot kill, and then if you started to control it, if you started to get the hang of it, then it would be better. Some of us, the better ones of us, were able to use it much better, and then we started destroying people with the FAL. Then we started getting topics and threads and forums and everything else on Naughty Dog forums, and well, I don't think we had shitty Reddit or whatever it was at that point in time. So we got so many complaints, and then Naughty Dog decided to nerf the FAL. So we started moving on to the GMAL. Now the GMAL became the gun of choice. It was pretty much a long range only weapon. Yes, you could use it in medium range. You could even use it in short range or close range, but it was not meant for that. And I do feel that M9 rate of fire, or even the Para 9 blind fire for that matter, was much better than the GMAL. So yes, we started using the GMAL, and then people started using it very well with scoped in, and then your aim basically wouldn't move, and it almost became like an aimbot. I never used it with scoped in. I just didn't enjoy that much control over the gun. I like playing a little bit more. I kept that part of the skill about not using scoped in, and I added to it a little bit more of the fun of using and the advantage of using cloaked. It was cloaked where you don't make any sound, because that always gave me the advantage in games. So I never went super ultra tryhard with it, but people did, and then they started destroying everyone else because they were better than them, because they moved from the M9 to the FAL to anything else. They were always better, so these people were always better at the game. So it didn't really make a difference which gun they moved to, because they always started applying it and using it much better than the other guys who were always complaining about it. So then we all started using the GMAL, and then Naughty Dog ended up nerfing the GMAL. This was about 8, 9, 10 months into the game, and people just got pissed off, including myself, and they said, fuck this shit, I don't give a fuck about this game anymore. Any gun that I try and pick up and try and adjust and own my skills to it, they just decide to nerf it because someone else on the forum just starts crying about it. So that was my experience with Uncharted 3. It was a fantastic game when it kind of came out, except for the blind fire shit. When it came out, it was a pretty good game, but then they kept on nerfing it, and basically right now there's not a single gun that's fun to use. Now we move on to, I'm sorry about a little bit of a long intro. I just wanted to give you an idea on how Naughty Dog plays with their games, and then their loyal fans and supporters, and who basically makes the changes. The crybaby bitches on forums are the guys that basically are the reason why you get all of these 1.05, 1.06, 1.07 different patches and shit. So we move into The Last of Us. When it started off at 1.00, most of you guys might not know this, but I actually started off playing with the burst rifle only. I did not play with the semi-auto. I played a lot with the burst rifle. Someone in 4 Nations told me that there is this gun that is a semi-auto, which is much better than the burst rifle if you can start using it well. I could not. Of course I tried the semi-auto. I did try the semi-auto as well when the game first came out. I just thought that it was a little bit more confusing, a little bit more hard for me to use, because the recoil for the semi-auto is not just going down. It's not like like a Call of Duty gun, you can't just keep pulling it down. Yeah, like of course if you want to hit just like 4 out of your 10 shots, then you can do whatever the fuck you want. But if you want to try and hit 8 or 9 or 10 out of your 10 shots on target, then you can't just pull it down. You have to move it sideways as well. This is not a tips and tricks video, so I'm not going to be telling you how to use the semi-auto. But then I started trying to practice the semi-auto and trying to get like my aim in every game is to become good at it. Like that's how I enjoy playing the game. Of course I enjoy the game itself, but I enjoy when I keep getting better at something, whatever it is, a skill, whatever the part of it is. So the skill was to use the semi-auto to become better. Now I didn't enjoy playing it and missing 6 shots out of my 10 shots and then getting only 4 shots. I enjoyed getting 8 shots, 9 shots, 10 shots on 10 out of 10 on target and just basically destroying people, basically being the best that I could be. So I started playing and mastering the semi-auto. All of the other good players also started playing the semi-auto, and of course if you're good, it doesn't really make a difference whether you're using the hunting rifle or the burst rifle or even the bow or whatever it is. I mean, most of the times you're going to have the advantage against someone who is not so good, and you're going to be able to beat them. Now the only problem comes up when you're against, like, you're a good player and the opponent is a really good player, but now one of you does not have an equal weapon, or the weapons are not of equal power or equal range or whatever it is. That's when the problems come in, because now obviously if I'm against someone of equals, if I'm against a mirror of my own self and I'm playing with the semi-auto or the burst rifle in one hand and the other one has a bow, I'm pretty sure that the burst rifle or the semi-auto that does not have a weird kind of a scope is definitely going to be winning against the bow, which does have a weird kind of scope. So that's where basically the real you can actually find out which gun is good and which gun is not good. So when the game starts off, of course the game comes from it comes from scratch, so there are no changes to the guns. The guns are exactly as they are, and we give the scores as 0 and 0, as you can see on top. Now I'm going to keep moving you through the facts and through exactly all of the points that the guns have changed, and therefore what the final score is of both of these guns right now. So the semi-auto, let's talk. The semi-auto is my favorite gun. The burst rifle is, in my personal opinions, will be at the end of this video for whoever gives a fuck. Semi-auto rifle, the first nerf came in the scope in time. At first it was like you just press L1 and the scope would be on target and you could just start pressing R1. So you could basically quick scope targets and get your first shot off. You could just pop out of the car and start shooting. That thing got nerfed. It hasn't been nerfed in the burst rifle. So one score over there would be negative for the semi-auto and would be +1 for the burst rifle. Or if you don't want to, like, you can say that they didn't really add that to the burst rifle, so you could even go -1 to the semi-auto but +0 or no change to the burst rifle. So let me just try and put down the scores as of right now. It's -1 and 0, or it is -1 and 1, whichever way you want to go with it. Alright, next thing would be the reticule for the semi-auto does become bigger, and you have to, like, unless you stop moving, the reticle is not going to become smaller. It's only when you stop that the reticle actually becomes extremely small and you can get like those precision shots. Otherwise, if a person is on the other side of the map, you really, if you're moving, you can shoot a single shot. It doesn't make it. If you might have like 20 clips, and you might even just 20 shots, and you might just get only 1 shot on target if the person is on the other side of, say, Lakeside or University or something. Because when you start moving, the reticle becomes bigger. The burst rifle, on the other hand, the reticule does not become bigger. Now this hasn't been a change in the game, so I'm not going to be putting a score on this thing, as in +1 or -1. But if you do want to put a score on it, you could. Like, you could really say that, you know what, yes, this is the burst rifle's advantage of the semi-auto rifle. And this is going to be extremely important later on when I get into the other changes or the upgrades that the burst rifle now has. So again, I'm not going to be putting a score on this thing, but even then, burst rifle, even back then, had this advantage over the semi-auto rifle. So it's still -1 0 -1 1, whichever way you want to count it. The next thing would be expensive upgrades. Right now, this is a negative for the semi-auto because it has the exact same level upgrade cost as it was back when the game first came out. It was 400 for level 1 and it was 800 for level 2. Burst rifle, on the other hand, gets a +1 on this because now it's 300 for level 1 upgrades and 600 for level 2 upgrades. So I'm just going to put the score as -1 for the semi-auto, since they didn't really change anything. And it's going to be, just give me 1 second please. It could be -1, and now it would be +1 for the burst, or it would be -2 and +1 for, and +2 for the burst.
Down one uniform.
-1 and +2 for the burst. So that's with the second change about the cheaper upgrades. Now if I get a successful kill with the semi-auto, then this is for a success, this is not for a failure. If I get a successful kill with the semi-auto, I just get 2 bullets. That's it, from a single kill. 2 bullets are now, okay, let's also take it to be the absolute best case scenario where nobody ever misses a single shot. Like, we're not even going to be talking about missed shots in the entire video. We're just going to be taking that everyone gets all of their shots as headshots, let's just say that. So if I get 2 bullets, alright, that's a potential 1 straight down, but not an execution. So that's the reward that the game gives me for using the semi-auto and getting a successful kill, that I get enough ammo to get 1 more potential down, but not an execution. The burst rifle, on the other hand, right now, if I kill them, they get 6 bullets. Let me just check that. Yeah, the ammo pickup is 6 bullets. Right now, the burst rifle is the only gun in the game that has straight executions on pressing R1 just once. You get 3 bullets out of your burst rifle. There's potential enough to get a straight execution. You don't, not only do you just down them, you even straight off execute them. So yes, this does work out in the favor of the burst rifle, and I'm going to be putting it right there. So this is a -1 and a -1 for the semi-auto. Since nothing really has changed for the semi-auto, we always got just 2 bullets. But for the burst rifle, it's now, it was either 1, and for the other one would have to be, so it now has to be 2 and 3. So it's either -1 and +2, or it's -1 and +3, whichever way you want to look at it. Now after that, we have ammo from the pickup boxes. Now I'm not being very picky or anything, this is just the way that the game is played, and you play this game like in this manner every fucking time you play it. So it's not that I'm actually being picky, you have to go to the box to actually pick up some ammo. So ammo pickup from the box is either is at the max you get is like 4 bullets, which again comes out to be 2 straight downs, but 0 executions with the semi-auto. And with the burst rifle you get like 12 bullets, which again potentially comes down to being, I'm sorry, do I get like 12 bullets or 6 bullets? Alright, I'm a little bit confused about this part because I don't use the burst rifle as much. I just don't like it. So I'm a little bit confused about this part, but you get either 6 bullets or you get 12 bullets. Now either which ways, whichever one you get, it is still 2 potential straight executions. It's not just a down, it is also potentially straight executions. So the semi-auto, you can get 2 potential downs, but with the burst rifle you can get 2 potential executions. So yes, another favor or +1 in favor of the burst rifle. So that would make it -1, -1. It would become 3 and now 4. And we must, and this is just, we should remember this, that the pickups have been increased for the burst rifle in the previous patch. This wasn't the same before, so which is why I'm adding +1 for the burst rifle. If it was the same exactly before when the game came out, I wouldn't be adding a +1. We're trying to calculate the total changes right now. So we get -1 and +3, or -1 +4, the way you want to count it. Let's move on to, I believe that these are the only things that I have for the semi-auto, in terms of semi-auto. Now let's check out the burst rifle. We already have cheaper upgrades. We have, we have cheaper ammo. At first, I think it was 240 or 200 or 220. No, it was 240 or 200 or something of that sort. I don't remember. But the burst rifle was more expensive for every 3 bullets. That has been nerfed now, and now you get them like every single 3 bullets you get for 120 parts, which is again a straight execution if you can use it. With the semi-auto, even the best way that a best player could use it, I think it would become 2 straight downs, or Yeah, but there are 2 straight downs, but with extra. I mean, the parts are 220. So if you try and equate the parts, 220 and 240, come out to be 2 straight executions versus 2 straight downs, I guess. So yes, but this should have been the advantage of should have been in the favor of the SAR the entire while, but this has been changed from the beginning. So yes, the burst rifle has been buffed here as well, and therefore the semi-auto loses out again. So it becomes -1/-1, and it becomes +4 or +5, whichever way you want to check it out. Okay. After cheaper ammo, now we come down to cheaper, easier headshots. Now, what I mean by this is, a good player is basically, if you're playing a game, you don't really expect that a person is in front of you, and if you have to aim, you miss the shots. No one's going to be like, basically people are going to say that, well, that's on you, you suck, you have bad aim. But if you get those shots, they're not going to say, oh wow, you have beautiful aim, because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be getting those shots on them. Now, it's the same thing with the burst or the SAR. Wherever, now the SAR, even if you choose to shoot at the chest or even on the upper chest or something, the recoil comes back to exactly where, just barely a dot above where it's supposed to be. So you don't really get the headshots that you can possibly get with the burst rifle. The burst rifle, on the other hand, the recoil has been set in such a pattern that whether you shoot at the neck, whether you shoot at the chest or mid chest or wherever it is, basically higher than the belly button, higher than the navel, wherever you shoot, it gives you enough to. And the semi-auto click, the second you click is a single shot. You cannot control. You don't have any time to control the recoil. The burst rifle, the second you click R1, you get like maybe 0.66 seconds to maybe a second. I don't know how much exactly it takes for one burst to come out, and also it makes a difference on how much you've upgraded the gun. But you have that window of opportunity to control your recoil, and the best part is this recoil is going straight up towards the head, so you need to control it even lesser than anything else. So you actually get cheaper and easier headshots with the burst rifle than you can possibly get with the semi-auto, because you do not have time to control the recoil of the semi-auto, because the bullet comes down on the click of L1. This is another advantage that you have with the burst rifle. So -1. No, you know what? I'm not going to give it a score, because again, these guns have always been like this. So I'm not going to be giving this a +1 or -1 score. But if you do want to give it a score, you could. So let's just put it as -1, and either 4 or it would be 6. So it would either be -1 and 4, or it would be either -1 and 6. Now that we got cheaper and easier headshots, alright, the reticule doesn't budge. I think I've been pretty clear about this, that if a person's on the opposite side of the map, this is the one biggest thing that everyone has to say about the semi-auto. The semi-auto has infinite range. The semi-auto it does not have infinite range. If you're just sitting and doing absolutely nothing, then yes, the gun has infinite range. But I don't think, I mean, doesn't pretty much every gun have infinite range if you're just sitting and doing nothing? If you're moving around, no gun has infinite range except for maybe the hunting rifle, where you can actually get shots and get a straight headshot and get a straight down or something, or maybe even a military rifle. But every gun is going to be having the reticule keeps becoming bigger, and therefore it does not have infinite range. And when you just sit with it, every gun when you just don't move and the reticule doesn't move, or the reticule doesn't move at all, yes, then you have infinite range. The burst rifle, on the other hand, seems to be the only gun where you can actually fleet foot without the reticule becoming bigger. So if the reticule doesn't become bigger and the person is straight up in front of you, close to medium range, which gun do you think is going to be easier to get headshots with, or who do you think is going to be getting the easier headshots when you're using the semi-auto or when you're using the burst rifle? Definitely the burst rifle. So again, this hasn't changed from the beginning of the game, so I cannot really put a score on that. But if you do want to put a score on that, you can, and I think I already have put that in. I'm not really sure. So it's -1.4 and -1.6. More effective. Okay, it's armor upgrades. For whatever reason, now not only did the burst rifle have everything else, cheaper ammo upgrades, blah 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 blah, everything else, but for whatever reason they even buffed it up against armor. So you possibly had one advantage with the semi-auto, that you could shoot 2 bullets and get the armor off, and I don't know how many bullets it used to take with the burst rifle, but people used to say it used to be really shitty, so they even buffed buff that up, and now you have a stronger burst rifle and pretty much no way to combat it, because you could just take armor to combat the burst rifle, and now you can't even do that much because it's going to melt right through your armor. So yes, now this does again work in the favor of the burst rifle and not in the favor of the semi-auto rifle. So it becomes -1, -1, and it becomes 5 or 7, whichever way you want to look at it. Alright, now that I'm done with the entire scoring, the scoring comes out to be either -1 and 5 or -1 and 7, whichever way you look at it. So there is a difference of either 8 points or 6 points, whichever way you look at it. So yes, there is a huge difference in how a game started off and how the gun started off, and when people used to think that the semi-auto was a much stronger weapon, or well, not even really a much stronger weapon, but I guess the jack of all trades weapon, which is, I think that's the best way that you could actually describe the semi-auto rifle. It's been a jack of all trades weapon. That actually is the right way. It's not the strongest weapon. It wasn't the strongest weapon. It was a jack of all trades weapon. So if you practice with the jack of all trades weapon, you could get good at all trades. You could get good at close range, medium range, and long range. And if you didn't practice, of course, you would have to use the burst rifle when you're playing close range maps. You would have to use the hunting rifle in long range maps, and so on. So it was a jack of all trade weapons. It wasn't the best gun, but now it's been completely and totally screwed over by the different 6-point to 8-point shift in the favor of the burst rifle. So yes, it's not exactly the same thing. And if you're thinking that you're getting headshots with the burst rifle and you're melting people now, you can't really be proud of it because you're supposed to be getting these easier headshots and melting people right now. So if you kill someone with the semi-auto rifle when he's head up against you, you're supposed to be able to do that. It's not that you suddenly became good. It's because the game changed and that's what you were supposed to be able to do. So I don't know why people seem to find this so hard and so hard to comprehend this. Also, one more thing. The burst rifle is the only gun in the game that can give you a straight execution at the click of R1, except for the military rifle. So let's just check out the difference between the military rifle and the burst rifle. Why do we not use the military rifle, or why do most people not use the military rifle? Of course, FN games don't even have purchase weapons allowed, but mostly we don't use it because the military rifle is extremely expensive. It comes out to be somewhere around 400 or 450 or 470 parts for like the first few bullets, I think. It is extremely expensive. And the third set of bullets, like you get 4 bullets per shot, the third set of bullets comes out to be about 600 or something. So again, extremely expensive. And another reason why we don't use the military rifle is because it has 2 different reasons. Because it has that hunting rifle kind of a scope. It has that scope in. Now that some people can use it, some people are just not bothered with it. Like they don't really. It doesn't matter to them whether it has the scope or not. But some people, unless they have their peripheral vision of the third player, they can't use the military rifle or the hunting rifle. Some people just have that problem. If you can't just see the third person view, you're gonna have that issue. So some people don't use it because of that. And one of the most important reasons why people don't use the military rifle, including myself, is because the scope in time takes too long. So even if I have my aim where I feel is going to be exactly on the head, by the time I press L1 and scope out, it takes about a half a second to a second, where if someone else has a burst rifle, a semi-auto already scoped in, a hunting rifle already scoped in on me, he's going to get the shot off on me. So I cannot use that thing. The burst rifle is a cheaper and equally powerful gun as the military rifle that does not even have the scope in, the first person scope in thing that is kind of annoying, that you can just literally just click L1 and pop it out and start shooting people, and the reticule does not even move or does not even become bigger when you're fleet footing. That's what the burst rifle is right now. It is the most extremely powerful version of the military rifle that you can just keep carrying around with you in your loadout without wasting any other points or parts for purchasables and purchasable ammo. That's what the burst rifle is, on top of which you have only 300 to 600 to upgrade your gun all the way. So yeah, that's what I have to say about the burst rifle versus the semi-auto rifle. Oh yeah, I forgot. I had to put in my my 2 cents and my opinion on, on why I like or do not like. Everything until now was just pure straight up facts that came from patch notes and everything else, and everything else about the game that we know. So now the final bit is about what I feel about the semi-auto burst rifle and why I do or do not use it. I've just always I put my time into the burst rifle. I did use the burst rifle. I did use the bow. I did use the hunting rifle. I put in my time with the semi-auto rifle. I did want to become good at a gun that made me the jack of all trades, as opposed to extremely good at only one, because I didn't want to make, because if I wanted to be an extremely good player, which I did want to be, I couldn't just have a gun that could only let me play in close range and that made me suck at long range and stuff like that. So I put my time in with the semi-auto to become extremely good. And the burst rifle, I hate the fucking burst rifle. I don't want to play. Like, it's like, yes, the burst rifle is definitely stronger right now than the semi-auto rifle. Why don't I use it? Because I don't want to use it. Fuck the burst rifle. You know what? It's like the semi-auto, I think some of the best sounding guns would be the silent semi, and maybe the military, and definitely the hunting rifle. I love that. Maybe the military for some folk, but besides that, the silent semi. I don't want to keep listening to every time I press the R button like what the fuck is up with that shit? I hate that gun. I hate the fuck. You know, if you have like an empty toothpaste tube and you have very little amount of toothpaste left, and then you're trying to squeeze the last bit of fucking toothpaste out and the toothpaste tube farts, that's the sound of the fucking burst rifle. Why the fuck would I want to hear that fucking shitty ass sound every time I keep pressing R1? I hate this fucking gun. I'm not gonna play The Last of Us if I have to play with this fucking shitty ass gun. I stopped playing Uncharted 3. Why should anyone have to play any game when it keeps on changing? You understand something about the game, and the game keeps on changing every fucking time. Why should anyone have to fucking go through that every fucking time? So those are my thoughts on the burst rifle with the semi-auto rifle. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and yeah, I'm out. By the way, I also wanted to mention that all of these games, of course, I'm using the burst rifle in front of you just to show you how any semi-decent player can start playing with the gun, with the burst rifle, the way that it is right now. I just wanted to mention that these matches were within the first 10 matches that I played after not having touched the burst rifle in over 9 or 10 months or 8 months, I don't even remember. It's between 8 to 10 months. These were some of the first 10 games. The Lakeside game, I did not even use sharpshooter. When you're going with the burst rifle, all you need to do is go for headshots, and it's not fucking complicated to go for headshots. I know people make it sound that hard, but it's not the fucking hunting rifle. It does not have a scope in time. It does not have a scope. It's ridiculously easy to go for headshots, and you can keep on going because the more headshots you keep getting, and you start using sharpshooter, you keep getting more and more health. So you will basically never run out of health. So yeah, this was just like my 10th or less than my 10th game with the burst rifle, and I played the way I played with it. So just imagine if someone has actually been playing with the burst rifle and is now a level 400, 500, 800, 900, you can imagine how that person is going to be playing with the burst rifle. And it's not because they became fucking awesome. It's because the gun has become whatever it has become. So yeah, I'm done. I'm never gonna fucking lose. I'm not gonna lose health like this, bro. I'm dead. He's dead. Take your side, I got my side. The fuck, they didn't spawn you? It's like my 9th game, that's it, with the fucking burst rifle. That's it. You're not using sharpshooter? That's free health. Death rape. Haven't been able to master the recoil yet, otherwise it would have been... Okay, never mind, I just did. That's exactly what I was going to do and I just did it. Well, thank you for that smoke. Never mind. That burst so hard to use though. Oh my god, Naughty Dog. Naughty Dog, everybody kills me with the semi-auto, Naughty Dog. No. Oh my god, make the burst powerful. Oh my god. Look at my lead skills. Look at my lead skills, bro. It takes so much hard work to actually get those headshots. Oh my god. It took me like 10 whole games. Oh my god. Who's the host? Exactly, let's check. Wow. I had no idea it would be that many. No idea. Oh, this one, don't worry. It's like dead burst. Dead burst. Yeah, the semi-auto is definitely stronger than the... Right. Dude. 120 parts for one burst, and with one burst you can straight off execute someone. Like not even down him, you can straight up execute him. Whereas 220 parts for the semi-auto, and you have to get 3 different